Turns out that Uganda just passed a measure to make it a crime to identify as LGBTQ+. And I find it very interesting because this is actual homophobia. It's not surprising for me because I grew up under communism, and it was a crime under every single socialist state in the world except for Eastern Germany. They couldn't outlaw it there, but everywhere else in human history, in socialist countries, as far as I know, like, feel free to give me counter examples, they have outlawed the LGBTQ community. Not the ideology, mind you. Like in Romania, if you were caught doing gay sex acts, they would send you to prison, where you would do more gay sex acts. But like, that's neither here nor there. So, you know, growing up in a country like this, it doesn't surprise me that other countries are doing it, especially if you actually understand African politics. Like, any person that actually watches what happens in Africa, you would know that even the left-leaning parties are very far-right on certain social issues. Like, if you listen to, you know, like, even the most open-minded politicians, and when I say Africa, I mean any African nation. Like, you take your pick, I'm allowing you to. But even the most open-minded people there are like, well, maybe we should just lock them up rather than super cancel them. Like, this is the politics that are going on in nations of Africa. And Americans, other first world people from countries with privilege, they don't care. Because they don't even follow African politics. They can't even point Uganda on a map. Right? So when they finally get news like this, they're shocked and dismayed, because the American Amazon LGBT flag also has the color black and brown, right? Which symbolizes the allies. But those are allies from the US, not allies from Africa. In Africa, things are a little bit different. They're concerning, as the media likes to call it. Concerning. So, as you can see, this measure appears to be the first to outlaw merely identifying as LGBT, according to the human rights group. The Ugandan parliament passed a measure Tuesday to make it a crime to identify as LGBTQ, handing authorities broad powers to target gay Ugandians, who already face legal discrimination and mob violence. More than 30 African countries, see? I didn't even have to read this. Why? Because I'm an educated person. I actually look at the world. You know, when you say first world problems, this is what we're talking about. Like in America, in order to be homophobic, you have to say you don't like a Disney movie. Haha. Like, you don't appreciate The Last of Us. Oh my god, you're such a homophobe. Meanwhile, in the real world, this is what's happening. More than 30 African countries, including Uganda, already ban same-sex relationships. The new measures appear to be the first that outlaw merely identifying. In addition to same-sex intercourse, the measure would ban promoting and abetting homosexuality, as well as conspiracy to engage in homosexuality. Conspiracy fact. How does one conspire? Like, you get like 4 or 5 people and you're like, hey, let's do homosexuality. Huh? Is that a conspiracy to engage? Conspiracy to engage. I would like to read the law, because I'm really curious, like, how did they define, like, conspiracy to engage? I guess it's like when 2 people are saying, hey, let's meet over to my house so we can ficky. I think that is what they mean as conspiracy to engage. So even if you haven't done it, but you were planning to, they have the internet chat logs. Violations would draw severe penalties, including death, Jesus, for so-called aggravated homosexuality, and life in prison for gay sex. Well, I'm really curious, like, what happens in prison? Because many prisons are renowned for the boogery. But seriously, like, look how strict they are. I mean, even the communists were a little bit more lenient. Like, the communists would give you 5 to 10 years, but, like, no life. They explain. Aggravated homosexuality involves gay sex with people under the age of 18, or when the perpetrator is HIV positive. You know what? in a country where I don't even think that they have medication for people with HIV, right? I mean, I heard in California now when they were talking about making it a felony. They wanted to say, oh well, there's already like treatment that well, it's not a cure, but you can take medication and it can give your HIV to undetectable levels. Blah blah blah. They don't have that in Africa. It's expensive, and honestly, if you have HIV, like I don't care what type of sex you have, it should be the same as severely injuring a person, or at least attempting to, right? Like, we're not talking about a person that has it and doesn't know. No, we're talking about a person that has it, knows they have it, and has sex with someone else without disclosing them. I mean, in many nations in Africa, HIV is still a serious issue. And again, like, they don't have the same resources that the United States does. So I can definitely see why they would consider this to be a problem. Right? So you have a deadly illness, and you knowingly do something which can transmit it to another person, you know, especially after COVID, where it's like, stay home, stay safe. I mean, come on. The legislation will be sent to the president to be signed into law. Apparently, a prominent LGBTQ activist denounced the legislation as draconian. It is, though. I gotta say. Even I agree. The law is very extreme and draconian. It criminalizes being an LGBTQ person, but also they said they are trying to erase the entire existence. No, they're not erasing the entire existence, they're criminalizing it. Like, they're aware it exists, because if they would erase it, then they wouldn't make a law against it. Like, you don't make law against unicorns because unicorns don't exist. But the community clearly exists, which is why they're making laws against it. Like, no, make different arguments. This is not very accurate. Museveni, who had not commented on the proposal, has long opposed the LGBTQ rights and has signed an anti-LGBTQ law in 2013 that Western counties condemned before a domestic court struck it down on procedural grounds. Supporters of the new measure say it is needed to punish a broader array of activities which they say threaten traditional values in the conservative and religious East African country. Yeah, I seen, again, very interesting that no one is calling them homophobic. Like, literally, no one, not a single person has called the Ugandan politicians homophobic. Not a single one. I wonder why. Right? Because if the Republicans wanted to do something even remotely similar to this, the homophobic party. Okay, so no one called them homophobic. But what I did see were people saying, and this was actually very beautiful, it's Christianity and colonialism to blame. Yes, because before Christianity and colonialism, there was no other religion that had a problem with same-sex marriage. Right? Literally none, across the world. None whatsoever. It's just Christianity and colonialism, which are still in effect how many years later? Like, how many years since colonialism, huh? It doesn't matter. You know what? In the year 2500, there will still be a thing. Like, Romania was invaded by the Goths, the Huns, the Ostrogoths, the Ottomans, the Tatars, the Goths, the Visigoths, you know? Like, imagine if I were to still be able to claim, yes, well, bad things are happening in my country because that time the Goths came in and demanded tribute from my ancestors. This is about sovereignty of the nation. Nobody would blackmail us. Nobody will intimidate us, he says. This month, authorities arrested a secondary school teacher in the Eastern District of Guinea over the accusations of grooming of young girls into unnatural sex practices. She was charged with gross... She was charged with gross indecency as in prison awaiting trial. Yeah, so this is what happens in Africa. Well, 40 countries of it, right? Or 30. How many did the media say? 30. Okay, 30 African countries. Very problematic. What can I say? I hope that America brings them some diversity, inclusivity, and equity, like they try to bring in other parts of the world. Let me know what you guys think, and as usual, I will see you in the comment section. Take care.